Thank Godot it's Friday. Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Oh, come on, camera. Oh, too far the other. All right, there we go. How's it going, everyone? Hey, Nix, Magoo, Sapphire, Random Journey, 45 stream streak. That's incredible. It's like past the two. That's probably realistically like 3 months since I don't stream every day. Incredible. How's it going, y'all? Nanigans, thank word it's Friday. I'll never thank Microsoft for anything. Oh, look at that little rolling little Godot spin. Oh, that's a full box emote. I love that. How am I? How am I, Dave? I don't know. It's a struggle. It's a struggle to be Dave. No, I'm all right. I'm tired. It's the end of the first, full work week of the year. Pretty tired. Rhiannon, it helps the most of the time. I'm streaming on your workday, during your workday. Yeah, that does help. But don't be caught out on a Saturday. I feel bad. I feel bad that I impose on you like that. Hey, Marticus, welcome back. How's it going? Smooth in a second. What's up? All right. We've been working on fixing a bug all week. I finally found it yesterday, last night. I definitively found the cause and killed it. Marticus, inventory going all right? You got the items displayed? Nice, nice. Yeah, I did. I found it. I know I said that I understood. The steps to finding a bug are almost like the stages of grief. There's like denial, there's like bargaining, there's like anger, and then acceptance, and then you still have to that's still, all of those things are like not solving the bug. So I went through all of that. I went through all the stages of bug. And then last night I actually found the cause. Magoo, 11 people you're following or streaming. Oh, that's better than me. I have so many people that I follow because I basically follow anyone that ever has rated me ever. And then I follow a bunch of other people. Like, my follow list has gotten so out of control. To scroll through it. Oh, excuse me. I scarfed an entire apple, like a giant apple, because I was so hungry, and I ate it during the ads. I think I ate a bunch of air along with it. All right, let's get into it. How's everyone doing on this fine Friday? You got a little bit more of an upbeat radio station today. We'll see. I might hate it, but I'm digging it right now. It's giving me the energy. All right. So the problem we were having, which is gone now, is this ghost block that kept getting inserted. Whenever we would place a block, there would be this ghost block that would not appear because it was invisible, but it would get recorded. I should remove these debugs. I did a lot of debugging to find this, and I figured it out. I figured out what was the functional cause of it, which was that we were syncing twice. We would place a block, wait a frame. Well, we'd place a block, sync, and then on the next frame, we would sync again after the hover step, the quote-unquote hover step, which is where we'd preview a block in a new location. So that preview block was getting synced and then immediately cleared. But we figured it out. Let's restore normal order here for a second.
He's dead, Jim.
He is dead, Jim. Bug is slain. Celebratory, he's dead for killing the bug. Yeah. Nanigans, you're doing good. 2 more hours until the weekend. The project you were working on you thought was due today. You just realized a couple hours ago it's not due until next Friday. Yeah, nice. You're cramming a bit to try and get it done. Now you're way ahead of schedule. That's excellent. Yeah, I set a lot of very aggressive deadlines for myself at work. At my day job, and I'm coming around to just like not doing that or being willing to like push deadlines back. I'm like, it's almost never critical. All right, so now we can just do the preview block thing is still being a little weird in that the highlight's not moving around, but I think I separately understand what's going on there. But now we can do it all. We can place blocks adjacent to other blocks, and we can also, because we're doing this ray casting thing, we can also extend the surfaces like this. This is very excellent for us. You can still just mouse around outside of that. It's a little hard to tell where you are when you're not actually locked in onto a surface, but we should support both. So yeah, this is excellent. It's working exactly as it should. The preview, the highlight isn't, but that's fine. I understand what's going on there. But I'll show you my shame. But yeah, I'm enjoying this. I keep doing this, the like vertical wall placement thing, because this is fun. I say fun, it's only fun to me, but it's working really well. It's everything I wanted it to be. Auto Tyler is working very well with it as well. We're back in business. And yeah, let me show you my shame. Does this work with the erasing also? Probably. I haven't tested it thoroughly. So isometric 2D Lego builder game when? Oh, you know, if they want to give me the license for that, I'll take it. I'm sure the license for Lego costs like millions of dollars, but if someone would happen to be giving it away, like Baron Von Lego, if Baron Von Lego was like a fan of the stream, friend of the stream, Baron Beaufort Von Lego of the New Hampshire Legos. I know Lego is actually like, I'm going to get this wrong and people are going to be pissed. It's like Dutch or Danish or something like that. Anyway, here's my shame. It's this line. This one line, which I added pretty recently as part of this refactor. Basically says the member variable version of sync preview buffer changes is either this frames return. So we return whenever we pop out of the block sculpting system, we get an out bool, which is whether we should sync the preview buffer. Technically, this should be called synced settled buffer because what we're doing is we're passing the preview buffer to the sync buffer, but whatever, I'll change it later. But it basically says if we should sync this frame or we were supposed to sync on a previous frame, Just remember that. And the reason we needed to remember that is sometimes we can't do the sync immediately. Because, like, let's say the flood fill system is running. If the flood fill system is running in its task, we can't sync immediately because that would disrupt the data that this flood filling system is using. We could do some fanciness where we, like, early out and, like, cancel the task and then, like, restart it. I might do that eventually. But right now, we just basically wait. And there was just an issue where we'd be like, oh, we should sync. And we do the sync. And then we set the member variable sync to be false.
Maximum warp.
But then we'd set it back to being true again down here. And so we would just resync on the next frame when the hover system's already introduced an extra preview block. And so that preview block would get passed over and then immediately cleared. It was horrible. Someone needs to release an unofficial mod art pack to replace everything with Lego pieces. That'd be pretty funny. So yeah, instead what I've done is I've just added like an else statement that records. If we can't do the sync right now, then we'll just record it. And I've stopped doing this nonsense down here. In fact, I'm just going to delete it now that I've demonstrated my shame. I'm going to erase it. I'm also going to move this back up to the top. I used to have that at the top, then I added it to the bottom because I thought maybe it was causing part of the problem, but I don't think it will. But let's do Rhiannon's idea, which is to actually make sure that this works with an eraser. Hey, No Jewel, Maximum Warp. Thank you so much. Happy Friday. How's it going? We just slayed a bug that we've been hunting down all week, so feeling pretty good. Pretty tired, but pretty good. All right, so if we just start making stuff. I'm gonna make a wall. Does this still work? Okay, that just moves the camera. I'll have to change that. So I can just lay the walls down like brick by brick here. Which is not the best way to make a wall, but I feel like we can start adding block combinations to the palette. So like this will just be 3 walls vertical, and this would be like 4 or something. Or maybe there's an easier way to like, maybe we'll include a command or a tool that lets you like increment. If you're just placing flat objects, maybe there will be a way to like change the size of the tool or something. I don't know. I'm not quite sure how I want the palette to work now. But so we've got a wall that's 3 blocks high. We'll add... Oh, why can't I... Oh, I've reached the edge, maybe. No? Hold on. What's going on here? Okay, well, there's something weird happening in that back corner. We reached the edge? No. Okay, well, we'll figure that out. Another bug. We'll figure it out. So we can place a bunch of this stuff. We can just do like this. And then what we can do is we can grab the eraser. So the eraser switches from being... It ignores the offset, which is why you can see it's all recessed into this material. So when you're in erase mode, you ignore the offset and you actually just go where the cursor is supposed to be. If you're in block placement mode... Oh, that should do something. Another bug. This music is silly. Like, easy listening. All right, so let's try to erase via the same process. Oh. Okay, the erasing is a little awkward because it requires you to have like a surface. Huh. Erasing is a little weird. Yeah, so we can erase like... it's a little unintuitive. It mostly works. It's doing some weird... Something weird is happening on the left side. I don't know what it is. It might be because we're just very close to the edge. Something weird is happening. But... So yeah, I'm pretty jazzed. We're pretty much back to where we were. Why can't I select this block? Oh, is it because there's... No, it doesn't make sense. I can't select any of these blocks. Yeah, there's something weird happening on the side here. It works like this, so why are you being weird? Why are you like this? Whoa. Yeah, the erasure is a little tricky because it's like... I actually don't know if it should work like that. Erasure might need to lock in onto a particular level. So like if you do this and then you start to drag out, it might need to lock to a particular Z level or something. I'll have to think about that. Yeah, we're in much better shape today. All right, I'd like to figure out the highlights. Why the highlights are misbehaving. That has to do with these boundaries that we're keeping track of. Get that system up here. I might rename tile drawing system to like block tiling system or something. It's weird that it's all the way down here. It looks pretty good, not gonna lie. It's a little different. Funky. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll stop. All right, so our highlight works off of... I'm going to put this at the end because that's what I like to see. So did we get a rundown on the bug already, Arneo? Yes, we did. It was basically bad state tracking in the block editor system group. It was causing the blocks, the preview blocks, to get synced to the settled blocks twice whenever I would make a block placement. So it would sync the blocks after the placement, and then it would... a flag would basically not get correctly reset. And so the next frame, after it tried to like display an additional block, because that's what the hover system does, it displays like temporary blocks, it would sync again, and it would sync that temporary block. Excuse me. Like a tickle in my throat. I don't know why that's what we say. It's not pleasant. But yeah, it was causing this quote-unquote invisible block to remain in the settled block buffer, which caused a lot of problems. But we figured it out. It's gone. Huzzah. It only took like a whole week of effort. How's it going, Arneo? Happy. Thank Godot it's Friday, right? All right, so what am I doing? I'm ostensibly trying to... So we use the game.input.cursor_bounds as our basis for the input thing. The game.input.selection thing doesn't even work anymore, which makes me think that I'm not tracking that. So let's get those visual issues resolved, and then we'll figure out what's happening on the what's happening. I found some quirks with the selection stuff I want to sort out. I think we'll be in good shape by the end of the day. Man, that song was hype. I liked that. Arneo, you've had a pretty productive day for your project, rehauling the scanner, your like active scanner. In every other aspect, it's been one of your least productive weeks, though. Yeah. At least a very productive day is often preceded by a non-productive week. It's because, you know, what creates the product is often a lot of work that has no visible feedback or tangible result. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard sometimes because sometimes it'll feel like you got a whole bunch of things out. You got a whole bunch out of nothing. And then sometimes it feels like you got a whole lot of nothing out of what felt like a lot of something. This is also funky, but it violates my rule of like nothing that, you know, I don't like background vocal tracks while I'm streaming. Everyone else is having an excellent Friday. We're almost through to the weekend here. If you're already there, enjoy it for me. I'm not quite there yet. Give me another 6 hours or so and I'll be there. I'll be there with you. Watched a great Star Trek episode yesterday. I watched The Big Goodbye. That's like the first like holodeck episode. It's so good. It's very silly, but it's so good. I guess there's also a lot of existential dread in that episode, but what are you doing over here? What are you doing over here? Smooth in a second. You're clipping. Clip leader 3 coming through with a clip. What did I say? Thanks for the clip. I don't feel like I said anything outrageous. You better make a Discord announcement to react to your own live stream. Scotty McDuver over here. I don't know how you did this, Scotty. I'm not gonna make a react, but I'm just gonna be perplexed how you did this. You gotta let some other people react, Scotty. I think this is the literal limit of the number of reactions that you can have on a single post. And you use them all. I don't think anyone else can react to it now. What blows my mind is this part. You can't really totally see it because it's not big enough, but I swear these are 7 of the exact same Keck reaction. You have like 7 different servers that all have like the default Keck emote, and you used all of them. It's so ridiculous. How's it going? Happy Friday. Yeah, you barely got your raccoon in, Arneo. It's amazing. There's like 2 links. They look like they refer to the same clip. Smooth in a second. But for some reason, it put 2 links right in a row. and it can't, the embedder thing can't handle that. You're solo working over there? Oh, same. Yeah, all right. Well, let's sort out these cursor buffer things. Not looking forward to trying to make the copy and paste functionality work again. Magoo doesn't even see the Discord announcements. He just camps the page. That's the winning strategy for sure. I think you should start doing that too, Rhiannon Journey. You don't want to accidentally miss a stream. Add a backstop. All right, so this cursor bounds thing we're not tracking correctly. So we set it to the cursor coords when we begin an input. As we continue an input, we set the cursor bounds to be bounds. What is bounds? Bounds is a new bounding box that runs from the anchor coords to the cursor coords. That's all fine. Prior bounds is the bounds. Why are we only setting prior bounds here? It's a little concerning. We do set it right down here at the end. I feel like this might be a slight mistake, but maybe not. So if we switch from eraser mode to not eraser mode, we need to like somehow trigger... We need to trigger a block placement. Why is it only prior bounds when we do that? Prior bounds, prior bounds, prior bounds, blah, 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 blah. Active block tag dot has any. Well, that's wrong for one thing. Active block tags dot has any. Block eraser mode. Yeah, this function is a little weird. Nix, you just randomly opened the stream today. You were right on time. Yeah, you seriously were. You like popped it open like right as I hit the go live button. Sniped. You sniped it. I'm gonna uncomment this. Yeah, I think I'm actually gonna move this up here. What happens if I do this, or I attempt to do this out of bounds? Oh, there are bound checks here. Does the block placement also have a bounds check? Oh, good. Okay. I don't actually need to do this containment check. You're a very busy man. I don't doubt it, Mr. Magoo. You know, an OS wasn't built in a day. So the reveal blocks thing, that's fine for the active block tag. An active block tag means we have like a block that we want to place. However, stuff like this, like the prior bounds thing, this should not be dependent on that. This should actually be... Clipboard bounds dot move offset. Give me one last else here. Just to make sure that this happens. Oh, but that needs to be copied. I'm very pleased with the new raycast the fake cast, which is I guess what I'm just going to call it, or fake cast input. Fry fake raycast input. Alright, so we set the coords. We're trying to make sure that when we hover, we're correctly highlighting what we're trying to hover. And I jumbled this up. And I messed it all up. This Please Leave a Message song is just making me think of the George Costanza answering machine. Believe it or not, George isn't at home. I won't sing the whole thing. Hello? All right, sorry. No vocal samples in my music, please. I like how having to leave a voicemail used to mean that someone wasn't at home, but now it just means that they don't want to talk to you. Whoever you're trying to call doesn't want to talk to you. Ooh, Arneo making a sandwich. You're making a grilled sandwich, aka a panini, which is just a fancy grilled cheese. A grilled cheese with extra steps. That sounds good. I actually might have that for lunch. It's not my first choice at the place I'm gonna stop by while I'm doing laundry after this. I have my whole day planned. We're gonna be doing laundry after this. I'm gonna swing by a little place next to it. They have a chicken curry, which is really good, and it's been really cold here lately, and I want that chicken curry. But they often, and they pour the chicken curry over a biscuit. It's really good. But if they don't have that, which they often don't, they'll run out sometimes. Which is how you know it's good, if they can run out of it. There is a panini that they make, which will be my backup. They use this nice spicy mustard. Oh, it's so good. They use a little turkey bacon in it. Oh, amazing. Next, to you, it means that you're asleep or not paying attention to your phone. Oh, yeah, if you miss a call. Yeah, I know. Yeah. No one wants to have to talk on the phone nowadays. We've all become so socially awkward. I think we'll do almost anything to avoid having to talk to someone on the phone. Nix is like, Dave, it's 21:23. Can't just torture you like this. Oh, like by explaining all this food. Yeah, it's tough. That's tough. I mean, it's almost time for a midnight snack from your perspective. For me, it's just lunch. All right, will this work? What I'm describing? I mean, this thing isn't going to work, but we don't care about that block of code right now. I have to come up with some kind of prefab model that lets me like record block arrangements and then instantiate them as like almost a copy paste or like a spawn thing. So it's like you make a room that you like. I want you to be able to like copy paste the room around. That's probably what the block palette's really going to be. A lot of saved clipboard stuff that's configurable. Arnio, you're thinking of pivoting from panini to grilled tuna. Actually, some sriracha to spice it up. Okay, so you were going to grill a sandwich, and now you're like, I could just skip a step and grill the fish. What if you grill the tuna and then you make a panini using the grilled tuna? Oh, you meant a grilled tuna mayo sandwich. Okay, I thought you just had a whole tuna you were just going to shove under your panini press. Your commercial grade panini press that I assume you just have in your kitchen. Nix, that is such a great curse to say to someone who's making food. You're like, may your salt shaker be loose. I'm in a good mood. I don't think I'm in a productive mood, but I'm in a good mood. And you know, on a Friday, that's all right. All right, so I'm ostensibly working on this thing. So we set the chords like this, considering the offset. If we're in eraser mode, we ignore it by resetting it to ignore the offset, any potential offset. We do a block reveal, but we do a block reveal only if there's an active block tag. So what happens if I... What happens if I deselect a block? Well, let's see what I did. Let's see what's happening right now. Prior bounds, prior bounds, prior bounds. You know what I think the problem is? We're setting all these prior bounds, but we're not setting the cursor bounds. So I think I need to say game.input.cursor bounds equals prior bounds. That should fix this for us. Famous last words. What's y'all's favorite hex editor? So you say hex editor, and I know what you mean. But in my mind, I'm imagining like a hex-based game, like level editor. Like something that'll let me like make like Civilization 5 maps or something like that. Okay, the highlight's following us now. Good stuff. But no, I've never had to edit hex code stuff. Okay, so that's following us now. That's excellent. We're able to build our little objects. I love this. This is so good. What we need to do next is we need to figure out what happens when you like hit the scroll wheel. See, this is a little unintuitive what happens here. Where you can accidentally miss an object. Where's that? Okay, so that's just like in the distance. So there's something that seems to be happening when you're at or close to an edge. Oh, now it's not happening. That weird selection bug we were... Oh, nope, it's back. There's something going wrong. Yeah, like I can't... Oh. Yeah, there's something happening here. And what it is ain't exactly clear. But the highlight's working again, so that's good. I love being able to like follow along a wall and like make another wall. That's never going to be useful. But yeah, being able to drag out larger constructions like this is super nice. And it looks like the highlight's working. Is the selection working? It's working, but it's the hover highlight's not working while we're in select mode. And I think I understand why. Let's fix that, because that's pretty good. It looks smooth. That's a very self-serving statement. Smooth in a second. Nanigans, you just use whatever hex editor and whatever code editor you're using. All the ones you use have one. Actually, you don't think you've tried in Rider yet? You'd be surprised if it doesn't. Yeah, my feeling about Rider changed a little bit when I realized that it's costing me... I don't think it's actually costing me $101 a year. I'd have to look into it. I think I'm getting some kind of grandfathered price structure. I should review it. I mean, I'll keep using it because it's good, and $100 is like... That's like, what, like $8 a month or something? Seems fair to get such a nice editor and debugger and stuff and not have to deal with VS Code. Oh my god, Nyx. Ryder, you barely knew her. I always want to make that joke. Not that specific joke, but, you know, that kind of a joke. I never... You're just built different, because I never think of that in the moment. FTL hex editor win? Oh man, don't tempt me. I would love to do some hex stuff. You're tempting me now. I'm like, could I make the next game in a hex system? I don't think my system would work in a hex model. Let's like waste some time and think about that for a second. What would a hex tile even look like? I actually know what a hex tile would look like, but for argument's sake, it would be like... We'd probably want... We probably want to do pure isometric. The next game I want to make would totally benefit from being a hex game. I'm having too much fun. I think it would be like... Probably like this. I would probably want it to be the straight line back. I don't know what the technical terms are for the two hex orientations. I watched that video about how hexes are the best shapes. And I was like, hell yeah, I love hexes. I don't exactly know how it would be. I probably won't do that. But thanks for sending me off into a tangent. Bestagons? Yeah, hexagons are the bestagons. That's the video, isn't it? Are we planning the next game? No. The next game is like... Optimistically, the next game is like 8 years from now. I'll probably have such a tech stack from this game that I will both not be able to justify doing anything else and also only want to be doing something else. You'd love to tile some planets with hexagons? That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Nanigans, you qualify under their free license until you sell software that you built on it. So you'd lose your grandfather pricing if you have it. Yeah, no, I don't mind. Since I pay for it, I feel justified in being able to complain about it. Not that I complain about it. I actually like Ryder a lot. But, you know, if I was using it for free, I couldn't justifiably complain about it. He says, obliquely targeting everyone who complains and leaves bad reviews for free games. Next game in Unity? Oh my god. Never know, Joel. I'll have such a huge C# code base by the end of this game that I could conceivably probably do it in mono game if I wanted, though. But no, I'm ride or die for Godot. Godot or die. 8 years from now, working on the hex editor in Godot, episode 1024. That's funny. That's funny, Nix. That's not really, that doesn't really track with the timeline we're expecting. So what do we think we do? So we do about 5 streams a week. There's 52 weeks in the year, but I'm going to say 50 weeks because I definitely take at least 2 weeks off. If not more. I actually probably take more. So let's just say for argument's sake that we do 5 times 50 episodes a year. Okay. Don't talk over me. I like this radio station. It has a surprising amount of vocal tracks for an instrument-only radio station. Instrumental only. So what's 5 times 50? That's 250. So we should be doing about 250 live streams a year. So, you know, we'll hit episode 1024 in the next, 3 years. Hopefully. So we should be done with this game by episode 2000, I hope. Someone's gonna clip that and remind me in 6 years. Nanigans, you're not nearly as deep into things as I am. You're pretty happy with how things are going in Godot so far. Yeah, I don't know how deep I am in Godot because I'm engaging with the Godot so obliquely on this project. Like, I feel like I do more Godot stuff in any given game jam than what I do on this game. Because I'm just kind of doing my own thing. Who is Godot? That's the question, isn't it? That's the question of that Beckett play. It's Beckett, right? I actually don't know who wrote Waiting for Godot. Fine, episode 2048. Yeah, I'm hoping if this game is not released, fully released in like gold status by episode 2048, I will be a little upset. I will be somewhat upset. Hopefully by episode 2048, we're thinking about like ports and like post-release support and things. All right, so what do I think is happening here? So what I think is happening here is we are setting the cursor coords. We're setting the prior bounds. We're setting the cursor bounds. Oh, we aren't setting the prior bounds. Bounds, bounds, bounds. Bounds, 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 bounds. Interesting. If this, else this, else this, else prior bounds equals cursor coords. Game.input.cursor bounds is equal to prior bound. That should actually be working. Is there somewhere else that we're like clearing or setting the bounds that's causing it to not map correctly? Oh man, I've been faking the demo of this of like we could just like build this brick by brick like we're like Winston Churchill. been faking that for so long, and now we can actually do it. There are some freak out things that are happening, maybe. They're a little concerning. But generally, this is kind of what I want it to be like. Whoop, not like that, though. Eraser seems to work not as good. And you know what maybe needs to happen? The eraser should probably be doing some kind of highlight thing. Because it's kind of hard for me to intuit what's happening when I'm in eraser mode. But yeah, otherwise this is super intuitive. How do I get it to... See, here's the one problem. How do I get it to just... If I want to make like a ceiling, how would I get it to do that? Would I have to do it like this? Yeah, okay, I would have to do it like this. So I'd have to stick to the top here. That is great. Yeah, there's something happening with the eraser. The placement logic isn't working in eraser mode. Oh, because it can't tell where the cursor is. Maybe the eraser needs to work on just a locked Z-axis. No, it should work. Well, we'll investigate that. I didn't actually test the thing I was supposed to test. Who is Godot? Oh, episode 512 when? We could extrapolate that episode 512 should be in about a year from now. Probably the end of, would it be the end of this year? Maybe. That's not good. If we're not done with the block editor soon, I'll be concerned. We should be deep in, like, some other work by then. All right, so this is all working pretty fine. If I switch to the eraser... Yeah, I like the eraser. I kind of want some kind of highlight to follow the eraser. It might be hard to tell what it's doing, though. Yeah, the click drag doesn't work for the eraser for some reason. That's okay. But why can't I... What I can't do is this. So if I unselect my build block, this selector works, but I'm not getting my... Well, hold on. It is working for this, but it's not just hovering around for me, which is what I would be expecting. So I can do this, and then I can do this, and you can see that multiple overlays are working. And they get added to the selection overlay. Ooh, I don't love this. I don't love what's happening here. I didn't think about that. Why does that do that? That's not good. That gap there in the corner, that is not good. Why haven't I noticed that when I've been placing blocks? Oh, because you don't actually see it in this mode. Well, hold on. Why doesn't it just do that when I'm in selected mode? Oh, yeah, that's okay. I understand why it's doing that. I can live with that. All right, we're heading into ads. Hold on to your ads, everybody. I'm having a good time. Hope you are too. I'm less enthused about this radio than I was hoping I would be, though. Alrighty, so in the oven right now, you've got 3 slices of whole wheat bread, topped with tuna and onion, mixed in with cucumber mayo, spiced with a few drops of sriracha, all wrapped under some cheddar slices. That sounds nice. The smell would offend me deeply. I think the smell of tuna that's being heated up is like a war crime. In college, which I was only in for a very brief period of time, I'm deeply uneducated, to be clear. But in college, I remember there was a day where someone else who lived in the dorm, they weren't my roommate. They were not my roommate. They came into my kitchen and heated up tuna in the microwave. And I was like, get out. Like, what drove you to do that? I'm deeply uneducated, said Dave, while making a game from the ground up. That doesn't require education. If anything, that's an education in and of itself, but... Oh, this is a banger. All right, so there's some key problem here with the hover logic. I don't understand. Game.input.cursor bounds is prior bounds. Prior bounds is a bounds. It's being reassigned as just a cursor coordinate. If there is no block tag, and if the clipboard is not active, then we should be setting it right here. Wait, when we end a selection, cursor bounds becomes a new axis aligned bounding box. That sounds correct. Sort of. Actually, that doesn't sound correct at all. It should just be this. Okay, game.input.selection.add coords. Okay, that all works just fine. Cursor bounds equals bounds, prior bounds equals bounds, bounds equals preview blocks, blah, 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 blah. And max, preview blocks, clamp. So something weird is happening when I'm hovering. I don't like whatever this is. It's almost 10 p.m. You're gonna make some bean soup in your pressure cooker. Oh, nice. All right, I don't understand why the cursor bounds are being disrespected like this here. I'm gonna see, we're gonna do a debug. Don't disrespect my cursor bounds. Yeah, exactly. It's important to set boundaries, you know, in any relationship. I need to do some stuff about this tracking input when we're not in the window. I need to do some window checking. All right, well, I have the boundaries. They seem to do fine. What happens when I do this? That's all fine. What happens when I do this? Oh. I think there is a highlight. It's in the wrong spot. You see the 1 in the Z coordinate. That means it's trying to put the block above like this. But there are no blocks. And the way the highlight works is the highlight actually can't be drawn. It can't be drawn if there's no underlying block. And we do that to solve a bunch of, like, what would otherwise be a transparency issue. But we solve our transparency issue by just not drawing a highlight if there's nothing to highlight. And that's fine. So we're introducing an offset, and we need to not... That's what's happening, is the bounds are being offset into an area where there are no blocks. Okay. That makes sense. To an extent. Manigans, you have the exact same tracking bug right now. You just haven't bothered to fix. It's amusing watching tiles get highlighted as you're moving your mouse around while alt-tabbing into something else. Oh yeah, the not respecting the window boundaries or whatever. Yeah, I don't remember how to do that. How to stop that from happening. But it should be pretty easy. But yeah, I at the moment don't care very much either. But I should fix it. All right, so what we need to do here, this is the problem. So if there isn't, so I actually need to do this. I actually need to have this be, I need to have this here. I don't know if I should do it this way, but I'm going to. This is dumb, but that's what I'm going to do. That should fix that part. So yeah, so the block sits on top. If I select off, okay, here we go. All right, back in business. Rhiannon, we're just slaying bugs today. Yeah, I think that's what happens when you're hunting down a very tricky bug. You end up noticing a bunch of unrelated bugs. And you're just like, we don't have time for that right now. We're doing something else. But we'll come back. And now we're doing we solved the tricky bug. And now we're coming back to do all the easy stuff. What happens if I don't have a block selected and I engage eraser mode? Oh. Is that how I want that behavior to work? Maybe. Magoo, you hate USB? Oh no. It is a universal serial bus, you know, but what does that even mean at the end of the day? Okay, so our click drag eraser isn't working, and I think that's my next, like, what's going on. What are we doing out here? Probably also built up a really good mental model of things, figuring out the tricky bug. Yeah, I would hope so. I would hope so. That's the nice thing about doing everything yourself. You do build up a very detailed mental model. Although the fact that it took me a week to find the bug also showcases the flaw of relying on your mental model. If I had just looked in the correct part of the code where the bug was, I would have spotted it almost immediately. But in my mental model, I was like, here's where the bug could be. And setting that flag seemed like such a trivial thing that I never even bothered to check there. And that's why debugging really is just a series of steps just challenging your assumptions. So it's like the more sure you are about some assumption about the way your code works makes it more likely that there's a bug in there somewhere. Just because you're so sure that it's got to be working, you won't even check there, right? So that's on me. I over-relied on my own model of how stuff was supposed to work. Oh no. Your shop closed 8 minutes early. So much for German punctuality. Ah, darn. Shenanigans. It's tricky to track a bug that's right on time. It's tricky. I got it. That's good. That's good. That's funny. That's a good one, Nanigans. All right. So why is so that's here, place. Begin, continue, end. So why is there something we're doing specifically because we're in eraser mode? Oh, there's another bug I thought I noticed. Let's double check to see if it's there. I thought I noticed that if I am here and I go between erase and not erase, yeah, nothing happens. Oh, interesting. How did I get around this before? Oh, it's because of how we're setting up the cursor. Because it won't do it unless I engage the eraser and then move. It actually doesn't do anything, which tells me that we're over relying on the offset, even in cases where we don't want to use it. All right, I want to fix that first, which is just what happens when you're like flickering the eraser button. I can tell you right now, part of the problem is we only rely on prior bounds. That is not going to cut it. We're going to need to define cursor coords. I don't know what you're working on, Magoo, but it sounds hard. Making all the OS and FS onto one USB. Oh, okay. What's an FS? File system. Ah, okay. When you're describing that, I feel like Captain America when he's told to open that big electrical panel on their like weird hover ship. Iron Man is like, we gotta fix the whatever. We gotta flib the flob. I don't know. And Captain America just opens this big complicated computer panel thing and is like, it seems to be powered by some kind of electricity. That's how I feel whenever anyone talks to me about anything complicated, like operating systems and... All right, so here we're gonna say... So when we engage the eraser... Wait, how is this gonna work? I actually think I am getting this wrong. I actually think regardless, I think if we're flicking the eraser on and off, we actually don't want to add any kind of offset. Which I think is part of the problem that we're seeing. Let me confirm that in my mind here. Well, guess you're making bean soup tomorrow. Today you'll eat the mac and cheese you made. Oh, rip. To be so unfortunate as to only be able to eat mac and cheese that has already been made. Mac and cheese is good. I don't think I'm ever disappointed with mac and cheese. It's like the two things I want. Pasta and cheese. All right, so yeah, so we're stuck on this like offset when we're doing this because there's this floor plate that we're building on top of. And then when I flick the eraser on, it's just trying to erase the top, like what's on top of the floor plate. And it's not until I do this that we actually get the correct coordinate. And this is the behavior that I want. But that's not what the cursor thing is passing me because... That's not in the settled block buffer. That's just a preview block buffer thing. So we need to kind of fake it a little bit. So I actually think what we're going to do is this. I actually don't think we do this. I think what we do... So we can reveal the blocks at the prior bounds. Sure, whatever. Oh, this isn't the right area. Am I writing this in the wrong place? Yeah, I am. What did I erase from here? Uh-oh. I need that. What did I erase from here? Okay, I don't need that. Actually, we could move this back down, I think. Well, there's this, I guess. You've seen some mac and cheese on social media that you would be disappointed in. I've seen a lot on social media that I'd be disappointed in. I don't know about mac and cheese, though. You know the people who put raw noodles in a huge block of Velveeta cheese, a little splash of milk, and bake it? Ooh. Okay, that's a little concerning. I mean, government cheese is always disappointing, right? I'm not from a generation that actually would enjoy that. I'm gonna move this down. Whoa. Well, maybe I won't. That seems fine. Okay, what I need to do here, though... I can actually just make this a ternary, I guess. Because it's really just what function we're calling. Can I only do this during an assignment, the way I'm doing this? Assignment, call, increment, decrement, await expression, and new object can be used as statement. Can I not do this? Is this not allowed? Huh. That's weird. I guess because I'm not assigning anything, huh? I think I might be done with this radio. Oh, maybe I'm back in. We're doing a lot of curating. Hopefully we'll improve this. This one is called Sandy Spit to Soggy Bay. It sounds damp. Next, you make mac and cheese with a modified J. Kenji Lopez recipe. It's really nice. Oh, nice. I mostly just do what it says on the back of the Annie shells and cheddar, but I think I've reached the point where I kind of just do my own vibe. I'm not familiar with this J. Kenji Lopez individual. I'm an old Alton Brown fanboy. I know the show Good Eats has been resurrected like 3 times, and I haven't seen most of the new stuff, but the classic, the original run of Good Eats is so awesome. All right, so when we trigger this eraser, what we need to do is we need to remove the influence. So whether we're engaging the eraser or not, let's just do it like this. So wait, what if I've selected a whole thing, a whole mess of stuff? Oh, this kind of gets complicated. Actually, that should be fine. Oh, there's a case that I'm thinking of that would not be handled very, very well by my proposed solution to this. Let's think about it for a little more. So, thanks for the hydrate, Nix. Good idea. It's a younger Alton Brown. Serious eats. Okay, so we're done with good eats. Now we're all about serious eats. Okay, okay. Speaking of food, I need to drink. Yeah, you got a point. Oh, there's a bunch of people associated with this, none of whom appear to be this individual. But I'm gonna bookmark this site. This looks good. I'm not a big recipe person. Like, I'm like a trial by fire kind of cook. Like, I'll think of something I want to make. Maybe I read the recipe the first time, but then I just repeat the process over and over and over again until I, like, understand it. Which, you know, relies on the infinite patience of my partner, who's willing to eat my my initial attempts at making something until I've learned how to do it. We're doing scallop. I'm making scalloped potatoes tomorrow. I'm very excited. I haven't done it for a while. And I had some when over Christmas, and I was like, it's time. It's time to scallop some potatoes. I bought my whole big carton of heavy cream, my big bag of potatoes, some Gruyere. Oh, an onion. You do need an onion. That's all you need, though. That's like the whole thing. You almost don't even need to include instructions. Serious Eats is their blog website. It's not all him anymore either. It's all great stuff. I'll check it out. It sounds good. All right, so what I was thinking was I was going to alter stuff so that we could handle this. Well, you know, I actually think I need to handle this a different way, because watch what happens when I do this. If I just click, nothing gets updated until I move the cursor again. And I kind of want the click to be an instant piece of feedback. Like, click, the block should be there. It shouldn't be like click and then you have to move. And then similarly, if I've like selected this block and I turn the eraser on, well, that doesn't actually do anything. Oh, it doesn't actually listen to the selection when I do an erase. Well, that's eraser mode. I should probably have some kind of like backspace or delete button. Like delete. I should be able to like select this and hit like delete or something. And be able to delete this block. I really want to avoid processing like, well, no, I think I want to do it. All right, I can think of a different solution to this that I think I will try. I'm moving away from the idea of storing all of the input that I process. I originally kind of wanted to do that, but I've talked to some people and I think I've decided I don't want to do that anymore. Oh man. This cursor thing is working great though. And I don't mean the vibe coding tool. But yeah, we need this to update. Oh, that worked twice. Oh no, that worked right here. How? How's that working? Why is that working all of a sudden? Okay, I understand what's not working then. So it's like, if I'm placing blocks around and then I turn the eraser on, it's not updating the coordinate to the new tile. That would be pretty easy to fix though. do I actually want to do that? Nanigans, you're cooking up a nice hash brown casserole tonight. A bunch of cheese, sour cream, cream of whatever soup. Oh, whatever soup. Yeah, nice. Hash browns, more cheese, and cornflakes. And cornflakes. It sounds fascinating. Your breakfast food casserole. In eraser mode, the highlight should be red or something. Oh, that's not a bad idea, Nix. What happens right now is that it actually just previews what it would look like without the thing there. Which I kind of do instead. Oh, this is interesting. You'll notice I'm like punching a hole in this, and then when I get over here, it hops up onto this level. That's correct. That's nice. That's nice stuff. I'm still learning like the quirks of this new input model. This input model we only just got working. All right. I'm less sure how I want to handle this now. I'm thinking the simplest thing to do would be to remove that last safety I have. I have one more input safety, which is like, don't pass along an input if the cursor literally hasn't moved. But I actually think there are cases where I want stuff to happen even if the cursor doesn't move. The only real question is, do I need to do that at like way upstream at the input handler? Or can I just reinterpret the input like further down? I guess I can't do that because the systems won't run again because at the moment, they're all based on receiving input. Like all the systems refuse to run if they don't have an active input. And I guess it would be fine for most of these systems to run every frame. The only reason I was trying to avoid that was because I was recording all of the input history. Way at the bottom here, I was just like game.input.history.add. I think I'm going to stop doing that. All right, Nix, you're going to eat your mac and cheese and then go to bed so that you're bright and early to get your ingredients. Okay. Plan ahead. Take it easy, Nix. Hey, Skywalk, how's it going? Happy New Year. What's happening? Nanigans crushed cornflakes on top. It's often used as an alternative to breadcrumbs. They're crispier. Ooh. They're nice. They're nice. Do you get ones that, like, aren't sugary, I assume? You get some kind of, like, weird old people cornflakes? It's the weekend. Nice. Yeah, not yet for me, but we're getting there. Happy Friday. Thank Godot it's Friday. Hit me with the Jeremiah Johnson nod. I was bargain bin hunting for Blu-rays, and I saw Jeremiah Johnson, and it was a little too expensive to be considered a bargain bin piece, and I was like, oh man, I want that movie eventually though. Just plain cornflakes? Well, not frosted or anything. Oh yeah, I would hope not. You want a painting of the open day of the like that scene? It's funny. I've had people be like, "Is that Zach Galifianakis?" And I'm just like, "Oh my god." Just him before he nods. Yeah, that would be nice. I wonder if people make little replicas of the statue of him in the film. That would be funny too. All right, so what I want is I want something to happen when we input this command, even if the cursor doesn't move. And I feel like the best way to do that is to just remove the safeties. Remove all the input safeties. I think it's fine to process player input every single frame, even if the player input hasn't like changed. That's not going to be like a performance issue. I was just doing it to save to keep myself from recording like a ridiculous amount of input. But I thought about it recently, and I don't think I actually want to record inputs and outputs like unbounded like that. I don't want the like memory footprint of the game to like just grow without bounds as like the game is running. There is stuff we'll track input histories, and there might be some fancy stuff we do for like save games where we like track some amount of stuff that's happening, but I don't know. Since I'll be able to scrutinize like the entity hierarchy and all that stuff and all the component data, I think I'm less concerned about that than I thought I would be originally. All right, do I do this? Do I use this else for anything else? Lol. No, I do not. Let's also delete this. Did I update the roadmap to do I had going on? How much left to be done? There's a lot. We just recently changed the input model. We've added this like fake raycast, so we can figure out what face the cursor is on, like each block face. Really neat. We're kind of working through that. We're still not. I would say honestly, we're not super close to finishing the tile block editor. There's quite a bit left. We could look at the specific to-do list for the tile block editor, because we're still here. But I think this is super critical pre-gaming kind of work to do before we hit the shipboard simulation. This is going to be our bread and butter, and this will be pretty interesting, and we'll probably spend like the whole year on this, honestly. The shipboard simulation, getting everything to work right, like people running around and, you know, power moving through the ship and atmospheric stuff going about. If I'm lucky, I can get the shipboard simulation and maybe the scenario editor done this year, because these three things are what I need to do my little side project, Lo-Fi Flyby, which I would love to get out next year sometime. I would love to have a release in the next 2 years, is what I'm saying. As far as like New Year's resolutions, I would love to have a release, some kind of release, even if it's not this. I would love to have something out there. 1 more year minimum, easily minimum, as far as getting anything that's playable, which is fine. I have my game jams. Who knows? Maybe we're gonna do at least 4 game jams this year. Who knows? Maybe I'll make a game jam and it's so good, I'm like, I have to work on this now. I'm trying to avoid that. It helps that I'm not good. It helps that I don't make amazing games. I don't think I'm gonna catch lightning in a bottle anytime soon, but you know, I'm very loose with my long-term planning because you just don't know. My employer has said we're all being summoned back to the office by the end of the year, so that's gonna cause some big shakeups in my life. But yeah, we're working on this raycast cursor input. We're almost done with it. So as far as the tile blocks editor is concerned, we're really concerned with this raycast cursor input right now. I need to do this resizable block buffer thing next. But then we're interested in doing these 3 tasks, like a block editor history, save and loading the block sets, undo redo for the block tool. And then we need these 3 down here at the bottom, which is an invalid block tile mask, 90-degree camera rotations, and a block cutaway system. So, you know, there aren't a ton of tasks left. I'm going to save probably these. Having an expanded block palette and like an eyedropper block. These are quality of life things that I don't think we're going to do right now, but you know, we have a finite list of tasks left to do for the tile block editor, and we're getting pretty good. But I tend to be pretty large with the way I separate out my cards. Like we don't have this enormous list of completed tasks because like I don't see the point in doing that. And like I could delete this block cutaway aware auto tiled outlines thing because like, yeah, we did it. But we also need to totally redo the cutaway system. So like, I don't know. Skywalk, same. You have tons of ideas for new game project. You're trying to resist the urge to do another before you finish your current project. Yeah, that's important. I'm lucky in that I don't have a lot of project ideas. But I do have a hard time managing scope on this project because it's so open-ended. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna do what I want to do, and you know, if it takes a long time, that I can live with that. All right, so time to remove the safeties. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. We don't use this anymore. I need to move this to-do up here. But yeah, this is our year. This is our year to do something. I don't know what, but we're going to do something. It's just going to become an else. Hope everyone else is having a fine start to their year and a nice Friday. I'm wiped. I'm not used to working. I know I've complained about this all week, but I'm like, after a month of holidays between like, you know, Thanksgiving and New Year's. So out here, the holiday circuit of like late November to like early January is pretty crazy. I barely had it in me to do my like 60-hour work week, which I try to do between game dev and day job. It's split pretty evenly. It favors day job. But I definitely do more day job than game dev, but all told, it's about 60 hours a week. And yeah, I just didn't have it definitely pushed me to the limit as far as my stamina this week. So I'm going to try to chill this weekend. I do need to build some computers. I've had the parts sitting in my kitchen since Black Friday. All right, so now we're going to be processing inputs every single frame. That should solve some of our problems. cool if this would tell me if I have variables that I don't use, because I feel like I do at this point. All right, I'm changing the radio. I've been listening to a lot of lo-fi. I want to make some lo-fi this year. I need to start practicing my my digital music and sound effects skills. I think we will try to use like BFXR or something like that. It's at least Ludum Dare, if not Down to Jam. I need to practice. So far, I've really only done live music recording and like Foley art and stuff, and I want to do that too. I enjoy doing that, but I have a MIDI keyboard next to me. I've hardly ever used it. It's definitely a goal for the year. Get more into sound production stuff. I would love to do a lot of anything. I think all we did last year was program. I mean, not counting game jams, which is definitely a breath of fresh air. It was really nice to do all the pixel art for like Bare Necessities. That was fun. So I'm sure I'll be doing, you know, art and sound and stuff for game jams, but I would love to get back to like making the art for this game, you know? Or at least the art for Lo-Fi Flyby, which will probably be more like Firefly-esque. Probably be a little less Star Trek and a little more Firefly, since it's smaller scale. The Star Trek stuff is going to come into the more big scale stuff when you see big ships, like militarized ships and stuff. I think you'll see more of that. Arnio, when you get tired of code and systems, you relax by doing visuals. Can't wait to try doing audio. It feels like the thing you should do last. Maybe it's the thing that you should do last. It has a higher impact on atmosphere and feel than anything else, in my opinion. And it has to do with the way audio is interpreted so intimately by the brain. Like, there's something about music, right? In sound effects and stuff. There's something so... I don't know what the right word is, but there's an impact that sound has on us that is, like, hard to replicate, you know, visually or whatever, cerebrally, intellectually, I guess would be the word you say it. Like when you ask someone about the atmosphere of the game, the sound seems to have a higher impact than like writing or visuals or anything like that. So I don't know. I think the thing that I would do last would be writing. I think writing should be done last. Writing, sorry. My dialect of English, hard T's are almost never pronounced. But writing, I think, is the thing that I would do last. Because writing requires almost everything else to be sorted out. It's the thing that changes the most. It's why people have to do string locking for, like, localization. Like, if you change almost anything, the writing changes, right? So I think that's what I would do last. It's like lore and dialogue and stuff like that. I would use placeholders for a long time. I want to write one of those. I want to write one of those little dialogue managers. Like, not a manager on the back end, but like, I want to figure out how we're going to communicate the written word in this game, like in a conversation and stuff. little dialogue box stuff. With the little chip tune bit, the little bit sounds of like as like text reads across the screen. I figure all that stuff out. I really want to mess around with like Fmod or like other interactive sound generating stuff too. Because I want to think about the sound as like a soundscape. I want to think about the sound as all being related. The music, the sound effects. Arnia, you can imagine starting with a script or story and tailoring gameplay to it. But if your starting point is making a game, writing is often the window dressing. Yeah. Yeah, you could definitely go the other way. And you could start with a story. But yeah, I think if you're making the game part first, the writing fits the gameplay in a lot of cases. It's sized to fit. What am I doing? Oh yeah, we were gonna see what the effect was of removing the safeties on the input handler. I'm not in a very productive space today. That's okay. I'm having a good time. Yeah, that's what I want. I want you to place the block, bam, and instantly see the next block. Bam, 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 bam. You can see it spiraling. Yeah, okay, so that's good. That case is what I want to see. I didn't see any bugs or anything. I mean, there's no way to visualize what was happening there, but that's beside the point. All right, I'm gonna give myself a stretch break here. Thanks, Arnio. Thanks for subsidizing my stretch break. I appreciate that. If you click and drag, does it keep placing blocks, or do you have to manually click to place each block? No, you can click and drag. What's really interesting is when you click and drag like this. If you don't, do you have to move out of the existing cell before a second block gets placed? No, that's what I changed. Before that wouldn't happen. Before you'd have to wait. You'd have to move the cursor before it would register that change. By removing the safeties, it does it immediately now, which is what I wanted. So yeah, it immediately adds them, which is great. That's what we want to see. All right, what happens when I hit the eraser now? Yeah, that's also what I wanted to see. Before it wouldn't update until I move the cursor, but now when I switch to the eraser, it instead of trying to place the what it was doing before is it would think that we're trying to erase this block that's highlighted, but this block doesn't exist. But now if we switch to the eraser, we correctly switch to the block below it. Excellent. What happens when I click drag to do an erase though? Because I don't think that works great right now. Oh, hey, it works fine now. Huh. I don't understand why that's the case, but you know, I will take it. What about the vertical? What if I try to like swipe down this whole thing? Hey, that works too. Wow, that solved a lot of problems. Just removing that input safety that I had introduced. Okay, that didn't work. What about this? There's something happening when I'm right at the edge, and it's only happening on the negative x-axis side, but there's something that's happening. something weird happening that's not happening on the other side. It is kind of weird. There's some kind of edge case where the cursor mapping thing can't figure out where we are exactly. I don't totally understand what it is. So, like, that works fine. It's a little weird. It's actually going way further than it should be. Yeah. Okay, so there's some awkwardness with the eraser. Okay, it's fine there when I'm just doing this. But it's being weird when I do, like... Yeah, it's trying to map it to what it can hit with the cursor thing, and then it's getting strange. Oh, it's because I started there. It kind of makes sense why it works this way. It's not what I want, but I see how the logic is functioning. And I think I can live with it. This looks like it's progressed quite a bit, though. Yeah, it's looking good. What should it be doing? It should be doing only the correct things. Smooth in a second. No, it's having a bit of a hard time when I engage the eraser. It's having a bit of a hard time figuring out where it should be. I might need to add some kind of additional logic to the eraser specifically. Yeah, one thing that's weird is it's jumping. It's like... And I know why. I kind of understand why. You know what might be happening? No. It's kind of weird. Yeah, it needs to have a slightly longer memory about what we're trying to do when we're erasing things. But that's okay. The placement is working great. All right, you hit me with another clip there. Smooth in a second. What do we got going? Oh, nice. You managed to clip the... Nice, nice. You got the... It's tricky. All right, we're heading into ads. Hold on to your ads. Oh, Nanigans is asking good questions. You think there was a brush-like mode? There should probably eventually be a brush-like mode. Is your raycast getting tripped up when erasing because the block is removed, so it's now projecting on the block behind it? No, it's the opposite. I think it's the opposite of that problem, which is that the cursor coordinate system relies on these settled blocks, which means when you're in the middle of erasing something, it's not considering that. It's reading out the original composition, and it won't update until you're done erasing. So I think it's like a mental model issue where, like, I'm expecting it to update as I erase and map correctly to where the cursor would be, considering the erasure. But the erasure hasn't technically been finalized yet when I'm in the middle of that, so the cursor coordinate thing is not mapping the way that you think it should. So I don't know. There might need to be some kind of need to be some kind of helper that does some, like, interpolating. Because, yeah, it makes sense when you're placing blocks that you have to finish placing the blocks before it updates. But it's behaving a little... That same behavior feels weird when you're erasing stuff. Which, yeah, it makes sense. It's not bad, though. I'm actually quite pleased with where the system's at right now. Considering we've been just struggling the whole week to get even this. might need the input handler to actually be able to track whether we're in erase mode or not. Right now that's being tracked here. And so we have this like erase for or not erase thing happening. Like the block placement is the same as the erasure. Like we use the same function when we're erasing as we would be when we're placing blocks, and I think that's maybe causing a bit of an issue. I do want it to work the same. And again, so do you need to make a hash set of coordinates you've erased? Check if the block you're hovering is in that set. So act on the block behind it. Every time you erase a block, add it to that set. That's a good idea because we already have that. We're just not using it for that purpose. We have this hidden blocks. It's a dictionary, but like it might as well be a hash set for this purpose. Yeah, so we do have a list of the blocks that we're erasing. That's a good idea. Question is, can we do it here? But yeah, that's a good suggestion. It's also possible that we could this cursor chords, the anchor chords or the cursor chords, the prior bounds is this. There might also be a problem with the anchor chords. Well, maybe not. I don't know. There's a couple things that might be happening here. But yeah, that's a good idea. Problem is I need to figure out what block was behind it. I guess I could do that. I'm just gonna play around with it for a bit. Generally before I'm able to formulate what I want from this, there's some kind of intuitive like, oh, this isn't behaving the way I think it should. I want to try to understand this thing that seems to only be affecting the left side and not the right side. And it only seems to be affecting it when we get close to the edge. Oh, you know what's happening? We're probably early outing. We're probably hitting some kind of early... Well, does that make sense? We're hitting some kind of early out in the cursor mapping system, I think. Because if I get close to the edge here and I like make a wall, let's say I make a wall within one line of the edge. Well, this works fine. But as I add to it, I think it's going to stop working. Yeah. That's what's happening. Whoa, that was weird. Yeah, it's freaking out because we're right at the edge. So we're like clipping into the edge of the valid block space. And so like I can't place on top of this block anymore. That is definitely not how it's supposed to work. So let's sort that out. I do like this though. Part of the reason I don't want to lock the z-axis of the eraser is I really like this kind of wall placement thing, and I want the eraser to work the same way. What's weird is it's not able to update its visual as I do this. So it's having a hard time with this. Oh, are we having the same problem on this side? We shouldn't be. Uh-oh. This block is being drawn, but it's not here. That is a problem. So if I do the eraser like this and I drag across, It works at the end, and then it freaks out, and now I think it's broken again. Oh, no, it's fine now. Yeah, something about the eraser is misbehaving. It's probably the click drag part. I don't think I've set up the click drag part to work correctly. Like, I don't think I'm setting the cursor coordinates correctly when I'm doing a click drag with the eraser. I don't think I have it set up to work the same way. Because yeah, we're not even bothering to set the coordinates. We set the coordinates once here. Place. This should actually be like a... Should actually say something like this. We should say like block eraser mode. That should help. We can actually see if we're in eraser mode, and we'll change the coordinates if we are. That might actually solve the problem, honestly. Well, it'll solve one of the problems. Appreciate everyone hanging out here. Our live stream viewership on YouTube has kind of just been blowing up. Specifically for the live stream, not for the VODs. VODs are very hit or miss based on impressions, but I really appreciate everyone who decides to spend part of their day here with us. Whether you're hanging out with us on Twitch or YouTube, but I'm acknowledging the growth that I'm seeing on both platforms, but especially the YouTube live stream. So I hope this is a nice place for you to hang out. I hope you're able to get the work done that you need to get done. If you're just here to hang out and with us and chill and you're not trying to work, I hope this is a nice environment for that too. If you're trying to just, you know, unwind from the work week. Nanigans, there should be a modifier key, like holding Alt or something, to lock the Z-axis. That way you can drag long floors that you might not want right on the surface. That's a good idea. There should be a lock. There should be a way to lock the Z-axis. Honestly, there should be a way to lock any axis. Like maybe it should read what face you're on. Like it should read if you're on like the left face, the X face, the Y face, or the Z face, and then whatever face you're on when you start, maybe it presumes the Z by default. But maybe you can lock to that face. That's a good idea. We should probably do something like that. I'm trying to go kind of light on modifier keys because I would like for this interface to work on like with a controller. I know that's a big ask for people to be able to do block editing with a controller, but there's still enough keys. We have enough keys we could do a modification. It could be Alt, or maybe it could be Shift or something. All right, so now we're changing how we set the cursor coords based on whether the block eraser is on or not. I honestly think that was causing the insanity that we were observing. I do want to fix this other issue, though. Nanigans, if you're inferring which axis to lock, you would lock based on whatever axis you are currently extending out the most. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. We kind of probably want that anyway. It seems to kind of do that implicitly because of the way it builds. That works, especially if you if you build a wall and then you draw down a line down the wall and then you drag out from the wall, it replicates the structure of that wall. So like to an extent it does that already, but yeah, then we might want because of the awkwardness around like the cursor map is not able to cast a ray onto blocks that are in preview, which I actually don't totally understand why we don't. I kind of arbitrarily assigned it the settled blocks rather than the preview blocks. I think it was, no, I actually do understand why. It's because we don't want, otherwise you would click down on a block and it would just grow to like infinity immediately. If we mapped onto the preview blocks. But yeah, there should be some kind of like figure out the major axis and lock to the major axis, because that would also be very useful for drawing walls and drawing floors and stuff. In addition to just handling kind of weird topologies that you're trying to draw or erase across. Yeah, as usual, you were correct. Let's fix this though. There's something wrong here. I was talking about it. There's something wrong here. I'm ready to unfocus my brain. But we're not there yet. It's also been really cold. I know I complain, and I'm a Californian, so people are like, what do you mean by really cold? And I don't say because I don't want to embarrass myself. But I know it's not really, really cold. But again, I'm a fragile California flower. And I get cold easily. I also don't move around enough. Having an effect on my circulation. Nanigans, you think it would be intuitive to a lot of people that way? It's an extremely common pattern in a lot of different software. You can scale or transform things or draw lines. Yeah, I should study more of that stuff. I don't have a strong background in like other editor tools, and it definitely hurts me because I don't know what like what people expect from like scaling or transform or whatever. You think a more common key binding for that convention though is shift? Yeah, that's what I'm tempted to use. So maybe we'll do that. And shift will basically say, once we begin, well, how would that work? I think shift would need to take a hint from the axis that we start off of. I don't know. We'll have to play around with it. But yeah, there's probably some way that we can smooth this out to prevent the system from like jumping around based on what the raycaster is doing. All right, what am I doing here? There was something I really needed to change. Why is the cursor hit list public? Actually, don't know the answer to that question. I actually don't think it should be. Should we just call it the cursor block hit list? Make it a little more clear what it's doing. I've lost my train of thought. The train left the station. Nanigans would need to adjust for the projection. A common way to handle it is to just check if the mouse position is in a greater offset in one particular axis than another. If so, lock to that one. Once locked, don't change it unless the cursor deviates by more than double, etc. Yeah, there's some version of that should work. I can't totally envision what our version of that would be, but I bet it would be fine. Okay, so I changed some stuff that should help. I was going to change one more thing that would also help, and I don't remember exactly what it was. And you know what? That's okay. Oh, right. It was this while statement. We're breaking out of this while statement because the cursor coords plus the spiral pattern is not contained in the block space. And I switched to a containment because I thought that would be easier. Now I realize that I can't do it that way. Because the problem is that will early out when we're still, if we're less than the minimum bounds of the space, and that's not what I want to do. I want to search through until we hit the max, or we hit one of the max. So that's what I need to do. So I can't do this block.space.contains thing. That's what I wanted, but that's okay. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to say cursor plus spiral patterns. So we're going to say while cursor plus spiral pattern index while this is the same as vector3i.min cursor coords plus spiral pattern index block.space.maximum. That eliminates that lower bound problem, because this will just take the lesser of these two. So as long as this combination does not exceed the block space, then we will carry on, which is good because we were undercutting the block space boundaries, and it was not happy about that when we just were doing a containment check. But this is better. This will work. This will work, and it will only stop us when we've exceeded the maximum. All right, so let's draw. Well, let's build right at the edge. We're gonna build this right at the edge, which is here. And this is a restriction I want to change. I think I'm gonna work on this this weekend. I think we'll work on this tomorrow. This is where we get that resizable block buffer thing. Because not only do I want it to be resizable, I also want to be positionable. I want to introduce like a block space offset, because the tile sets, or not the tile sets, the tile map layers are like infinite, right? Like they head off in whatever direction. And you could start your construction anywhere. And so I want to constrain that. Right now it's just hard constrained in that the block space is just a 1-to-1 match with the tile map layer. So So you can see like when we are less than 0, we just can't place a block because the block is like, you can't do that. The block space runs from 0 to whatever the max is. But that's not really, we don't really need to do it that way. We can just set the minimum to whatever and build it anywhere and then just handle the offset. So I want to add that tomorrow. I think that's the thing we're going to work on tomorrow. Because then we can start a block space construction anywhere and it will dynamically resize based on how much of the space we're actually using and where it is. Actually, it's not even a resize, it's a reposition, which is better. We might do a resize right at the end, just so we're minimizing the block space, the block volume, as much as possible. Which we already practically do, because we have some get used bounds functions that prevent us from, like, you know, searching a enormous volume, a 64 by 64 by 64 volume. But anyway, apropos of nothing, let's see if this worked. Okay. So I can't place blocks back here, but I shouldn't have any problem. The system shouldn't have any problem figuring out. Oh, I guess the other thing I want to do, and we might work on this instead, because I think it's more important, is figuring out what happens when you use the scroll wheel. Which when you use the scroll wheel, that moves the Z level. But it will move the Z level and it explodes, Marticus. Yeah. But when there's like different modes. Like what it used to do was moving the Z level just hard. It moved you up 1 Z level when you scroll to Z level or down 1 Z level. It was like locked. But what I want it to do, and that's how it should work when you're like this, when you're just like when you're not mousing over anything, when you're in just like empty space, it should just hard move you up and down Z levels. In most cases. There's a caveat to that, but let's not worry about that. If no blocks have been placed, moving the scroll should do nothing because it's all relative. That's going to be kind of tricky. We'll manage that. But if you're like, if the raycast is hitting something, then moving the scroll wheel should just move you through that hit list. And that's how the cutaway system is going to work. So that's how, like, you can scroll into the next room. And that's how we're solving a bunch of problems around that. That's how the cutaway system is going to work. Because the cutaway system, we need to turn that back on. We need it to work with this new input model. We might end up working on that tomorrow instead. Anyway, it looks like I fixed the issue I was saying of like the, you know, oops, that doesn't do anything. This is interesting, whatever's happening here. I think it's clamping the input. Just curious. I think I need to change how that works, maybe. But it's mostly working okay. And so now if I'm here, you can see this is 2 blocks tall. So now if I click this, go up 1, it makes my wall 2 blocks tall. And then I should be able to drag that out. Oh no, I have to do it in the other direction. I would need to go from... I actually don't know how that would work. Oh, I see why that's not working. There we go. Now it's working. Just like that. Sounds like a plan. It's like a plan. I wouldn't call it a plan. But yes, it resembles a plan. Okay, so that undercutting thing doesn't happen anymore. What about the erasing thing we were talking about? I'm going to make kind of a weird shape, and then we're going to try to erase it. We're going to see how the system reacts. Okay, that actually seems to have solved most of the problem. It's still tied to the cursor. But it's actually pretty much doing what I would expect it to do. Like, it's respecting the bounds of from the initial anchored coordinate, which is wherever we start clicking, to wherever we end up. It's actually working very well. Which is interesting because it's not actually, like, it's not respecting these blocks that are being quote-unquote erased. As far as the cursor mapper is concerned, those blocks are still there until I let up off the mouse here. But you can see it's kind of like bouncing up and down in terms of, like, it's mapping very correctly onto those blocks that exist. It looks a little weird if I do something like this, but that's because I'm dropping down. This is pretty close to what I want. Cool. We're looking good there. All right, it's really nice to come out the other end of that tunnel of, like, the just agonizing over bugs and the new system not working right or anything. It's really nice to be in a spot where it's actually doing something. All right, are you reading or are you? Get rid of this. Yeah, I could still see us recording. We're going to stop recording inputs. I can still see us recording outputs in two contexts. One is when we're building, because you want to have that undo redo stack for when you're building stuff. I think we'll have the same thing when you're quote unquote planning. Like, if you paused and you're executing a bunch of orders, I think you should have an undo redo stack for that. And then if you, like, publish the build, or if you unpause and start executing the orders, then that's finalized. I don't know if you can queue up orders like that, but I think all of them will execute simultaneously. But you can at least, like, have a record of, like, what you've queued up to execute. And then it's, like, very specific. You're going to head out, you have a couple errands to run, then you're going to work on some of your own stuff. Nice. Take it easy. Yeah, I think we're going to head out soon, too. Take it easy, Nanigans. Good weekend. Yeah, I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased with our progress today. But we will stream tomorrow, and I think we got some good stuff to work on tomorrow. Another Excel end stream. Nice. Oh my god, have a word or full weekend. You'll clip me next week. I do respect a person who refuses to let a pun die. Glad it's progress day. I know it isn't always, Arneo. But I do love it when a plan comes together. Yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a nice Saturday stream. Nice chill Saturday stream. No stream Tuesday. I got some work stuff, but we'll be back tomorrow. So, yeah. Thank you all. Y'all are the ones that like keep me motivated and going when I like really don't want to stream or I really don't want to work. Y'all no matter what my mood is when I start the stream and I come in, it's always improved by the end of the stream. And that's really great. I'm very lucky to have that. So very grateful to you all. Weekend incoming. Yeah, we're going to ship it right into the weekend. But yeah, I appreciate you. I hope you all have a great weekend. If I don't see you tomorrow. Thank you all so much for watching. And yeah, I'll see you next time.
Maximum warp.
Bye.